Welcome back. Please open your books, student books, to page 122. And I asked you to write down as many vocabulary words that you can think of for picture number 6. Before we start, I want to ask you about certain vocabulary words that I wrote down in the meantime. One is spruce or evergreen trees. What does evergreen mean? Here it is. That's right. A tree whose leaves do not fall to the ground, but they stay green all year round. Spruce is a kind of evergreen tree. So, in what part of the picture do you see green, evergreen spruce trees? I see Okay, so I see spruce evergreen trees in the upper part of the picture. Where do you see a very large and prominent green spruce tree? That's right. Right in the center of the picture. Where do you see a sandy shore? A river's edge? That's right. In the lower half of the picture, and especially in the lower right-hand part of the picture, you would see a sandy shore. What word do you see in my rectangle? What word do you see in the lower right-hand corner of the rectangle? Lower right-hand corner of the rectangle is campfire. What word do you see in the upper right-hand corner of my rectangle? That's right, camper. What word do you see in the upper left-hand corner of my rectangle? Grill. What word do you see in the lower left-hand corner of my rectangle? Picnic table. Okay, so let's see what we see in the picture. Evergreen trees, sandy shore, river, picnic table, grill, campers, eating, wood, stones, fire, camping chairs or folding camping chairs. What do you see on the right side of the picture? A camper, and it's right, so you can sleep in the camper. What do you see on the left side? It could be another camper, it could be a van. Good. So now I have written down other vocabulary words associated with camping that may or may not be a part of this picture. The first word, wilderness. What is it? Wilderness. What small word is in wilderness? Wild. So it is not part of civilization, it is not developed, it is a wild area. It is the wilderness. Next word, fishing rod. What is it? Good. The next one, bait. What is bait? Right, it's kind of like a worm or another little fish that you put on a hook at the end of a fishing rod. Next word, woods. Cooler. Campsite. Riverside. Gear. So gear is all the stuff that you have to bring when you go on a camping trip. One of the other things that you might bring on a camping trip is a pair of binoculars. And what do you use binoculars for? See birds, also animals. An animal that is really far away, you can use your binoculars to see the detail of that particular animal. The next word, riverside, by the river. The next, canoe. Compass. What does a compass show? Direction. And where does the compass always point? North. The next one, canteen. Anybody know what that is? It's an old-fashioned word. Today we would call it a water bottle, but before there were round containers that were metal and covered with canvas with a little screw on the top that you put your water or your liquid into, and it was called a canteen. The next word, equipment. What is it? Good. The next, flashlight. What is it? Flashlight. This one, we used to call it a knapsack. Today, it's a backpack. What is it? Good. Lighter. Where do you need that? At the campfire. The next one, marshmallows. I thought that was a good camping word. The next one, map. I know you have your cell phone. Most of the time you can use it, but it's always good to have a map if you're in a place where you might not be able to use your cell phone. The next one, open air. What is it? The next, outdoors. What is it? Organize. Yes, you have to be really organized in order to go camping because there's so much gear that you have to do. Next, ropes or a rope. Why would you take a rope on a camping trip? So if they're camping in a camper, but if you are camping in a tent, and then you're in the wilderness, you want to be sure that you do not attract bears or animals to your site or your tent. So what you want to do is take your food, wrap it well, get a rope, throw it over a really high tree, tie the packaged food to the rope, and then pull the rope so that the food is really high up off the ground, but low enough so that bears that climb trees cannot reach it. Very, very important when you go camping is to not have food inside your tent. Okay, the next, sunscreen. In case you are canoeing or kayaking on the river or swimming in the river and it's hot, you want to make sure you have sunscreen. Another, sleeping bags. Another, reservations. Sometimes you have to rent a campsite, so you have to call ahead and make reservations. This one, tent, camper, and of course, you have to be aware of the weather. Okay, so those are all of the vocabulary words that I thought of that would be appropriate for picture number 6. Now we're going to turn to page 123 and listen to track 28. First, we're going to listen and answer the questions. Who are the speakers and what are they talking about?
Exercise 3A. Felicia is exhausted. She needs a vacation. Her husband, Ricardo, says he can ask his boss for a few days off. Felicia would like to go to San Francisco. They look for special travel discounts on the internet. If they book a flight at least 7 days ahead, they can get a round-trip ticket for less than $200. On the other hand, hotel room rates will be high because summer is the most popular tourist season. Also, there is a room tax on hotel rooms in San Francisco. They figure out that a 3-day trip to San Francisco will cost almost $1,200. Felicia and her husband decide to change their plans. If they go camping, they will save a lot of money and their daughter will have more fun. Felicia's husband will reserve the campsite after he talks to his boss. Hey,
So to answer the question, who are the speakers? Felicia and Ricardo. And what are they talking about? Felicia needs a vacation. I don't think we need to listen again in order to answer the questions. Complete the chart. Transportation, round trip airfare per person, less than $200. Hotel per, actually, I did not hear that. So let's listen to it again.
Unit 10, Free Time, page 123, exercises 2A and 2B.
I'm so exhausted. I really need a vacation.
You know, my work is pretty slow right now. I can talk to my boss. Maybe he'll give me a few days off.
Oh, Ricardo, what a great idea. We haven't had a family vacation in 2 years.
Where would you like to go, Felicia?
We could go to San Francisco. Michelle's 6. She's old enough to enjoy it, don't you think?
Well, let's see if there are any deals on any of the internet travel sites. Look, if we book a flight 7 days ahead, we can get a round-trip ticket for $200.
That's not too expensive. Are there any discounts for children?
Let's see. I don't think so.
Oh, that's too bad. What about hotel rates?
Not cheap. Summer is the height of the tourist season. If we stay in a nice hotel, it's going to cost at least $250 a night.
Plus the room tax, don't forget. You have to add on an extra 14% or something like that.
Right. I forgot about that. So if the three of us take this trip, and if we stay in San Francisco just 3 days, it's going to cost almost $1,200.
That's a lot to spend for just a 3-day vacation, Ricardo. Maybe we should just go camping instead.
Yeah, you're probably right. We could go to Big Bear Lake. If we do that, how much will it cost?
Well, gas will probably cost about $100. The campsite will cost about $35 a night. And then there's food. But that won't be too much if we grill hamburgers.
Michelle will probably have more fun camping too.
I agree. So, what do you think? Should we make a reservation?
I'll reserve the campsite after I talk to my boss tomorrow.
I hope he says yes. We really need a vacation.
Okay. So I was paying attention and listening that time. Let's go over section B. Listen again, complete the chart. Transportation. If they go to transportation, if they go to San Francisco, everyone, round trip airfare per person, $200. Next, lodging. Hotel per night, $250. Tax, 14%. Actually, almost all states charge this tax now. Camping, gas for the car, $100. Campsite per night, $35 per night. And where were they going to go? That's not here. Big Bear Lake. That's right. Okay, so let's do the little cultural note. Advertisements for hotels do not include the room tax. The tax adds 7 to 16% per night to the cost of the room. It's always a surprise to me, and I always forget that when I'm looking for rates and it shows the room rate and then there's an additional charge. So why don't they do that? Because different states charge different rates, anywhere from what range? That's right, 7% to 16% is the range of tax that each state might charge that is added to the room rate. Let's do the vocabulary word and then do the fill in the blank in the next session. And I just realized that this is part 2. When I said next session, I realized that I had forgotten to change that. So let's think about doing these things. Okay, vocabulary words. Book a flight. What is it? So if I say book a flight, what mode of transportation are you taking? That's right, airplane. Next, camping. Next, days off. Next, discounts. Next, exhausted. What is the adjective form of exhausted? Exhausting. It was an exhausting flight. So that describes the flight. So you would add ing in order to create an adjective out of the word exhausted. Next, figure out. So what does figure out mean? That's right, solve the problem. Find an answer to a problem. Next, reserve. What is it? Reserve. What if I say, I'm reserving a room? How would I spell reserving? That's right, reserving. If you're going to add a suffix and the word ends in E, you're going to drop the E and add ing. Next word, round trip. What is the opposite of round trip? One way. Yes, you get a one-way ticket or you get a round trip ticket. Next, tax. The next, tourist. What is it? Yes, tourist. So what is a tourist? So I hope you said something like someone who does not live in a location but is visiting that particular location. Okay, see you next time. Remember, this is part 2. We're going to do part 3.